Pilates. All right, there we go. Okay, so let's get going here. Should have a couple more people joining us. We'll go ahead and get started. Finding a nice, comfortable seated position. Take an inhale through the nose, exhale out through the mouth. So our Pilates class is focused on breathing, as well as alignment of the spine, symmetry, balance of the muscles, and targeting the core muscles, strengthening it. Inhale and exhale out through the mouth. Find a nice, slow, steady pace of breathing. And we're going to go ahead and roll on down. So if you're not already at the front half of your mat, you can just adjust yourself so that when you roll down, your head is going to be on your mat. Like I said, we're targeting our core muscles, which are anything that attaches to the spine and the pelvis. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Hopefully your device is set up so you're not constantly having to turn your head. But you could glance at the video and then realign your head and neck so you're staring at the ceiling. Everything's facing in one direction. Let's focus on the imprint here. Inhale through the nose, exhale, draw the abdominals down, take the lower back down to the floor. Inhale. And exhale, imprint. Inhale. And exhale. On this next exhale, we're going to imprint the lower back. And then lift the legs up to tabletop. Just warming up here. Keep the abdominals engaged. Exhale. Reinforce the imprint as the leg lowers. Inhale, lift the leg. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. The knees will stay bent at 90 degrees as you lower and lift. Exhale. Inhale. That exhale helps to tighten your abs and reinforce the imprint as the leg draws away from your head, which tends to pull that lower back off the mat. Moving both legs without any obligation of having to take the legs or the toes to the floor. So exhale as you lower, reinforcing that imprint again. Inhale to lift. Exhale. Inhale. Feel free to press into the floor with your hands as needed. Couple more. Last one here. Lift, drop the heels down towards the butt and place the feet hip distance apart on the ground. Inhale, come to neutral spine position. Little small space under the lower back. Exhale, imprint, squeeze the butts, press through the feet and roll up into your hip bridge or shoulder bridge. Inhale at the top. Exhale, as you lower one vertebra at a time, keep the glutes engaged until the tailbone hits the floor. Inhale. Exhale, slowly roll up. Reach those knees away from the shoulders. By the way, feel free to play any music you'd like and take water breaks at any time. Couple more breaths. Couple more hip lifts, as well as a couple more breaths. We're always going to be breathing. There isn't a moment in time in this class that we are not breathing. Add one more. Working on spine mobility here, feeling yourself lower inch by inch, one vertebra at a time. Lifting the head, neck, and shoulder blades, tucking the chin for ab prep. Inhale here. Exhale, curl up, arms actively reaching to the toes. Inhale at the top, exhale, roll down. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, hold, exhale, release. So that we protect the neck, we tuck the chin and keep the eye gaze on the knees. Feel free to keep the feet on the ground. I'm going to do a few more with the legs and tabletop, knees and shins together. Gotta keep the imprint as you exhale. Inhale to lower. Let's stretch those hamstrings a little bit. Squeeze the quadriceps. Exhale to lift. Inhale, we hold. Exhale, we lower. When we do our hundreds, you can have your feet on the ground. You can have your legs in tabletop. You can have your legs vertical, straight, or straight on the diagonal. So we're going to go into hundreds now. Go ahead and pick your leg position. This is the final option if you like. And we're going to pump those arms. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 10. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. 40, inhale. Inhale for 5 counts, exhale for 5 counts. Halfway there, 200. Inhale, exhale. Keep reaching with the fingertips, shoulder blades off the ground, eye gaze on your knees. Exhale. 80, inhale. Exhale. 90, inhale. And exhale. Good. Bend those knees in, and then lower the feet to the ground. Warming up our spine muscles. Using the forearms to assist, we lift the chest, keeping the chin slightly tucked. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Keep those elbows down on the ground. Try to use the spine muscles to lift the upper part of your rib cage off the ground. Our feet are separated, about shoulder distance apart, and we're keeping the tops of the feet resting on the mats. If you feel your spine muscles are pretty warmed up or don't need the assistance of the arms, you can take those arms and reach them toward the toes. Maybe you'll get a little more lift as you inhale. Feel that wideness across the collarbone. So really open up the chest, gently squeeze the shoulder blades together as you reach the arms or the fingertips toward the toes. No matter how high you lift the chest, the chin will stay tucked, head and neck aligned with the spine. Let's do one more. And the hands come underneath the shoulders. Push yourself up and give yourself a spine stretch called shell stretch. You're rolling over and creating a shell around a round object. Gotta come into the plank. So the wrists are underneath the shoulders. Actually, let's start on the elbows. So the elbows are underneath the shoulders. Reach a heel to the back of the room and then the other. Maybe your butt's a little high. Ask yourself right now if you feel your abdominals. If you don't, start to lower your hips. And usually when the hips come to about shoulder height is when you feel your transverse abdominals the most. In addition to drawing your abs up and in toward the spine, squeeze your glutes and quads as well. Take 3 breaths together, keeping the head and neck aligned with the spine. Looking at your thumbs is a good idea. Inhale, exhale. Inhale through the nose, exhale out through the mouth. One more breath. Good. Now we're going to go and have a seat on our butt in the front half of the mat for our half roll back. Aiming to start with a straight spine, shoulders down and relaxed. You can reach your arms forward. And then you want to initiate by tucking the tailbone under, drawing the abdominals in, and just rolling halfway back. Your arms are in front to help counterbalance the movement. Point those toes and try to anchor the toes to the floor. Exhale here. Kind of keeping my eye gaze forward, so right on my fingertips. Feel the curve in your spine. That is called spine flexion. When you're reaching up through the crown of your head, we're trying to get a neutral spine. So neither a flexed spine or an extended spine. We're going to try some arm variation. So right now my palms are facing inward. I'm going to keep my elbows close as I pull one arm back. So my arms are staying about shoulder distance apart. Try the other one. One more time on each side. Exhale. Inhale. I'm not rotating, I'm just pulling an elbow back. Kind of creates a little more resistance felt in the arms, in the abs. Now I'm going to have you turn your palms down. And this time as we go back, I'm going to have you pull your elbow out to the side. So a little bit more away from the midline. So here's the original position of the arm, and here is the new position of the arm. Good. Inhale here, exhale, pull the other arm. And now it's kind of hard to see because it's behind my body. But basically we're having the elbow stay about shoulder height. Not elevating the shoulders, but elbows are at shoulder height as we pull back. Again, this creates a little more challenge in the abs. Let's just go back to that first position again. Feel the difference. Palms inward, elbow pull low, stays close to the body. Probably a little easier. Still challenging, nonetheless. And then palms down, elbows wide. Good. Further from the midline. Last time here. And now we're going to roll all the way down. Shoot those heels out. Pull the toes up into a foot flexed position. Squeeze your quadriceps. We're going to have our legs active before we even start the roll up. Biceps by the ears. Inhale, arms reach. Nod the chin. Continue reaching for the toes. Stretch. Feel the lower back and hamstrings lengthening here. Reverse inhale. And exhale, you're going to feel the same muscles work, right? Your abdominals, similar to that half roll back. This time you're rolling all the way down, articulating your spine. If you find that you're getting stuck a little bit on the way up, feel free to bend your knees a little bit, or as much as you need to. As you roll up, wherever you get stuck, straighten those legs out. Just a little bit of assistance to get through that stuck point, and then dive forward. From here, keep those legs active, heels anchored to the ground, quads engaged, roll it down. It seems strange to be squeezing our quads when our legs are just lying on the floor, but it does really help anchor your lower body so that you can control the lifting and lowering of your torso. Exhale, dive. With these subsequent dive forward, I'm trying to reach a little bit further, deepen the stretch if I can, especially as I start to warm up. 2 more here. Inhale. Exhale. As much smoothness as I can get. Inhale and exhale. Last breath. know why I say last breath. It's not the last breath. It's the last rep. Here we go. All right, do the needed thing, which is adjust your pants. And we're going to go into single leg stretch. If your neck is ever fatigued, keep the head, neck, and shoulder blades on the ground. And then if you're going to lift the head, you're also going to lift the shoulder blades. So here's the leg work. Extend and stretch one leg at a time. That's why this exercise is called single leg stretch. With the head, neck, and shoulders lifted, you can just alternate hands, gently guiding the knee inward. You can extend the leg nice and high or a little lower. The challenge is the lower the leg, the more reinforcement you need for the imprint. So abs work a little harder. Chin tucked, head, neck, and shoulders are off the ground if that's what you chose, and eye gaze is on your knees. Inhale, exhale. Inhale for the transition, exhale for that stretch out. Maintain this pace, whatever pace you have with your breath, maintain it as you transition the arms behind the head and then add a slight rotation. Let's try to maintain the same pace. Let's not speed it up, even though there's a huge motive to want to speed it up because it's so hard. It's easier when we speed. So we want to keep it slow. I doubt anyone was trying to slow it down here. Breath pattern is the same. Inhale to transition. Exhale as you stretch a leg out. Exhale as you rotate. 4 more. 3, elbows stay wide. Shoulder blades are off the ground. 2. 1, double leg stretch. Usually right around here, my abs are really, really tired. Maybe my neck's a little fatigued, so I give myself a little break while still moving by lowering my head, neck, and shoulders. You can pick any angle you like for the double leg stretch. And then whenever you're ready, you get those shoulder blades right off the ground again. Inhale, exhale. A very standard ab series here. Last 2, exhale, reach, maintain the imprint, inhale, and exhale. From here, rest the head if needed, or going into scissors. And also a nice hamstring stretch. Gently pull the leg toward your head for a slightly deeper stretch, not at the expense of bending your knee though. So let's try to keep the leg as straight as possible. Inhale, exhale. Inhale the transition, exhale. Four more. 4, 3. Hopefully you're feeling the hamstring stretch. Quads are nice and engaged. And it's not just your abs at work. And finish. Oh, instead of flipping over, let's go into our shoulder bridge here. I do sort of have a set order. There's a set order that they recommend we do exercise in. One of it is like starting with simpler exercises, partly for the warm-up, and ending with challenging exercises like the teaser. But then sometimes we're so tired by the end, you know, we don't have any gas left in the tank for the teaser. So I like to change up the order here and there. So here's our shoulder bridge, hip bridge, which we did earlier in the warm-up. And now we're going to just add intensity to it by lifting a leg. So if both hips go up at the same height, even when we remove a leg, so I've lifted the front leg, you still want both hips coming to the same height. Let's do 8 here with the knee bent. So the front leg of mine is in tabletop. I'm still drawing my abs down and squeezing through my back leg's butt cheek. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower. No matter how much you squeeze your butt, make sure you also squeeze your abdominals That way you don't accidentally hyperextend and put pressure in your lower back. Last one here. Let's switch. Back leg to tabletop for 8, 7. Trying to come to a neutral position. So straight line, shoulder, hips, knees. 4 more here. This is also a hip flexor stretch. And back to the first leg. Focusing on the quads, strengthening, and the hamstring stretch again. As I extend the hip, I'm also going to extend the knee. There's 8, 7. Try to straighten the leg fully if you can. Again, feeling the hamstring stretch, as well as working the glutes, getting both hips the same height. 4, 3. We're not extending the leg and holding it straight. So we just have to squeeze those quads for a moment. Switch. Other side for 8, 7. A variation of this exercise is doing it with the leg completely straight like this. But sometimes what happens is that our quads get really fatigued, and so throughout the 8 reps, our leg just slowly starts to bend and bend. But here, it's kind of repetition based, so each one is a rep of squeezing the quads, releasing, squeezing the quads, releasing. Just different ways of working. So both are great variations to do, because again, one is focused on the endurance of holding that leg nice and straight. So now we're going to flip over. We're going to get range of motion in our shoulders. So this is called breaststroke. As if you're swimming in a pool. We'll add the legs lift in a bit. But first, we're going to dive forward on the exhale. Hands are just above the floor. Inhale, circle the arms to the side, and then lift the chest for that final inhale. Exhale, reach forward. Inhale, lift and circle back. So you already recognize this position. We did that earlier. Exhale, inhale. So the arms never really touch the floor. They get really low to the floor, and then here on your inhale, your arms are at its highest because that's when your chest is lifted. Now, if you want to add your legs, they're going to be nice and straight, and you're going to lift it as you lift your chest, right here. Hold, right? Squeeze the glutes, quads are off the ground. Lower the legs in, exhale, inhale. And hold for a moment. Exhale, lower, reach, inhale. Last one here. Good. So not only were we working the spine there, but also we got range of motion in our shoulders. We're going to go into a plank again. And I'm going to add some tricep push-ups. Yeah, a lot of times I do push-ups at the end. I'm going to do it right now. Okay, so we have our wrists underneath the shoulders, with the knees underneath the hips. So you're going to tuck your toes under, first of all. The plank we're going to do is called a bear plank. We're not going to extend fully into the high plank. You're going to press into the floor with your hands, tuck your toes under, press into the floor with your toes, and float the knees off the ground. Spine is in neutral. Take a breath in. Exhale, lower the knees, go into your push-up. Inhale, bend the elbows, spine stays straight, head aims just ahead of your fingertips. Exhale, press up. So you want your elbows really tucked in tight. Inhale, float those knees off the ground. Exhale, you're holding. When you're ready to inhale again, lower the knees and bend into the elbows. My elbows, again, are really close to my ribcage, hugging my ribcage. Exhale, straighten those arms. You should feel it in your triceps. Inhale, knees come off the ground, so shins are about parallel to the floor. Soften those elbows. Try not to lock out the elbow joint here. Let the arm muscles work. Exhale, lower into the floor, and inhale, bend into the elbows. Exhale, lift back up. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, knees. Let's hold it there. Exhale. Inhale, lower the knees, bend the elbows. Exhale, lift. 1 more. Did I say 2 more? Remember, I don't listen to myself, or I don't know how to count. Okay, let's do that final push-up. Feel free to skip if you like. Okay, jeez. Shake out those wrists. You get to lay back down. All right, so instead of doing teasers at the end when we're all tired, we're gonna do some teasers now. Teasers are similar to the roll up. All right, we're gonna be rolling up 1 vertebra at a time. We're gonna have our legs up in the air instead of on the ground. Here we go. Inhale, arms, head, shoulder blades. Exhale, as you use your abs to crunch up, you're gonna shoot your legs out, which helps you transition into your balanced position on your tailbone. This is the basic teaser. I'm gonna show you some variations today. Inhale here, and then exhale, extend the legs, roll it back down, and return to start. Let's do 1 more just like that. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, extend the legs so that it helps with counterbalance, so you can roll it down in control. Now, the variations is going to be done when we're on our tailbone. Inhale, exhale. So go ahead and grab behind your legs. Grab behind one of your legs. We're going to lower one leg, get it really close to the floor, and then bring it back up. Take your hands to the other leg. Lower the leg that you're not holding. Bring it close to the floor. Bring it back up. Now, roll down. So the next challenge, if you want to go there, is that you do it with your legs straight. Inhale, arms, head, shoulders. Exhale, straight up. Grab one leg. Lower. Lift. Grab the other leg. Lower. Lift. We're inhaling here. Exhale. Figure out the breathing here. Feel free to, of course, bend your legs. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to lower leg. Not taking to the ground. Exhale, lift. Inhale the other leg. Exhale, lift. Inhale. Hands release from the leg. Exhale, we roll down. Let's try that 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. I'm showing you the straight leg version. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now, one last variation is that you don't have to hold your legs at all. It does help a little bit with balance when you're holding onto a leg as the other leg moves. You can keep your hands off your legs the whole time. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale and exhale. Good. It's nice that we didn't wait till the end of class to do that one. All right, let's come onto the side here. I like to align myself to the straight edge of my mat. Make sure you're laying on your arms so that it mostly keeps your head and neck aligned with your spine. All 10 toes will face the front, as are your kneecaps. Kickstand hand right in front of your chest. Inhale, point, lift. Exhale, flex, lower. Inhale, point, lift. Now, before we go do too much of this, double check that your hip is not hiked. See how my hands are moving? That's my hip hiking. We want your hips and legs reaching as far away from the head as possible, finding the length. Just a little bit of choreography here with the pointing and flexing of the foot. It's good to get movement in the ankle. My leg lifts goes no higher than my hip, so about parallel, roughly about parallel. Okay, I'm gonna make some leg circles, so hold it up at hip height. I'm gonna do the first 6 with my toes pointed in the forward direction. Inhale for a circle. Exhale for the next circle. Small and slow, about the size of a golf ball. 2 more. Inhale. Maintain neutral rotation. Now I'm going to just, for variety, flex my foot and now draw circles with my heel. Same size, really small. Keep alternating the breath. Straight leg, quads engaged. Last 2. Where's the last one? Good. Holding the leg here, we're going to bend and extend. Here's where you definitely want your kickstand hand. You're going to pull your legs forward. Then you're going to do a front kick. But then you're going to press and extend your leg so it's right back over the other leg. Pull it forward. So it's not a butt kick. I'm not pulling my heel to my butt. I'm bringing my knee and leg forward, which means if I didn't have my kickstand hand here, I would just completely fall. So use your abs and use your hands to stabilize here so that your hips stay stacked. You really got to use your imagination here to pull in with resistance and press out with resistance. As if someone's pulling on your foot, preventing you from pulling your knee toward your head. And now as you're pressing away a very heavy object, like a car that's been put in neutral. If you just push hard enough, you can get the car to roll a little bit. Good, I know your top leg is starting to feel it. Our outer thighs are working. Hold the top leg still. Should be about parallel, and bring the bottom leg up to meet it. I'm just gonna, you can have either both toes pointed or both flexed. Trying really hard, I'm looking at my top leg, trying really hard to keep it still and just let the bottom leg move. Bottom leg, inner thighs are working to lift the bottom leg and squeeze it up. 4, 3, exhale, lift and squeeze. Last one. Now we can move everything together. Whether you want to point your toes or keep them flexed, the legs stay together as you lift both as high as you can while keeping the legs together. So you can't lift the top leg too high because it'll start to separate from the bottom leg. 2 more. All right, before we switch sides, I'm going to have us stay here and prop yourself up on your elbow. All right, we haven't switched sides yet. I'm going to have you take the top leg and cross it in front. Okay, so it's just ahead of my knees. You don't really need your kickstand hand anymore because we have a kickstand leg. And we're going to flex the bottom leg and lift the hip. As you lift the hip, it's okay to press down into the heel. So strong through the shoulder and press into that front leg. Now you can adjust how much you press into the front leg. For instance, if I really bring the focus to my bottom leg's outer thigh, and I press into that bottom leg more, I notice there's less pressure felt in my top leg. I'm no longer pressing to that heel as much. I will also notice a little more work in my elbows and shoulders here. So feel free to kind of experiment and play around with what muscles and what body parts are doing the majority of the work to lift. Let's do one more here. Exhale to lift. Okay. One more thing before we switch sides though, is to lift the bottom leg. You can either stay lifted here, so not sunken in, or if you prefer to lay all the way back down, you can. There is one more version, which is you're lifted like this and you lift the bottom leg. It's super, super hard. I can barely do it. Maybe we'll tackle that one day. Last 2. All right, let's switch sides. Laying all the way down to the mat. Kneecaps and toes facing forward. Inhale, point, lift. Exhale, flex, lower. Push that hip down. Extend the leg as far away from your head as possible. Abs are braced. Kickstand hand there, just a few fingertips. We're really trying to maintain neutral rotation. One way of knowing you're not in neutral rotation is if you can't see your pinky toes. See how I'm externally rotated there? So my pinky toe kind of disappears. Inhale, point, lift. Exhale, flex, lower. My left foot's kind of cramping, so I'm going to keep my foot flexed during the little circles here. But feel free to point your toes during the circling. Small, slow. If in doubt, slower, smaller. 2 more. Inhale for 1 full little circle. Exhale. Reverse direction for 6. In, out. In, out. Last 2. And last 1. Okay, bend and extend, which is a very descriptive name, right? Bend your knee. Extend by pressing through the heel. Again, imagining resistance in both directions. Like you're sitting in quicksand, which I've never been in, so I have no idea, but I've seen it in movies, how it's really hard to move through quicksand. Inhale, exhale. Give me 1 more, because we're holding our leg up at hip height. Our outer thighs are really starting to burn. Yeah, hold that leg still. Only the bottom one moves. So our top leg is now isometrically contracting. It is contracted, it's working, but it's not moving. Bottom leg is moving. Inner thigh works to bring the legs together. 2 more. And then keep the legs together, lifting both as high as you can. As high as you can, but keeping the feet together. Okay, so now that we're done with that part, we're going to prop ourselves up on the elbows. I like to reach the top arm up because it reminds me to stay lifted out of the shoulder. Also, we don't need the arm anymore. We have the top leg being the kickstand. And we're going to lift. You decide how much you want to press into that kickstand leg. You're going to feel in the obliques here, or how much you want to feel it in the outer thigh of the bottom leg. Also feeling it in the shoulders here. One more. We're going to keep the hip down. Again, feel free to lay back down. This is more challenging, right? To lift the leg when your body's propped up compared to down here. So you'll find that you have more range of motion probably, but doesn't mean that you're not going to feel the muscle a little bit more. So just try both variations if you like. I usually do the laying down version, so I'm just adding a little variety here. Stay lifted out of the shoulder. 2 more. Good. So we're done there. That's our side lying leg lift. Coming back to the mats. I'm going to make some leg circles, hip circles. So we're going to draw some Ds. Usually I do it 1 leg at a time, which I think we have time for. I'm not going to do too many single legs as I want to emphasize the double leg. But I'm just turning slightly to the side here. This is a capital D. You draw the spine and you draw the semicircle. Legs stay straight, hamstrings nice and tight. Inhale to lower. Exhale, circle up and pause. Inhale, exhale. So we're trying to move the thigh bone within the hip socket without disturbing the pelvis. Spine stays nice and tight. Engage flat on the floor, imprinted. Abs stabilizing. Reverse direction. Inhale to come down. Exhale to come up. So look at this other leg, the leg that's not moving. Yeah, it's not moving. So sometimes when we circle the leg out, there's a tendency to drop open the other leg because it counterbalances the movement. Try to keep the other leg unmoving. You can even have the leg straight if you want, if that doesn't restrict how high your leg lifts. Sometimes if we're really tight and our bottom leg is straight, we're not able to go as high. So just decide what works for you and press into the floor as needed. Let's try the other leg. Draw the other leg straight down, reverse or mirror image D, capital D. Inhale down, exhale, circle around. Inhale, exhale, in. Moving with my breath, reverse direction. Inhale, semicircle. Exhale, lift. Feel that hip. Feel the range of motion in the hip. You might have asymmetrical sides. It's actually a very high probability that you do. So maybe your left leg can't go out as far compared to your right. So just listen to your body. So here's what I'm really trying to get to. Both legs. Don't feel the need to go all the way down towards the floor. So for instance, test the water here. Maybe you want to go down to about 45 and then circle. And then you decide how wide you want to go. So don't worry about the shape of the D. Like how long is the spine? How wide is the circle? Make it work for your abs. You want it to be challenging, but without losing your imprint. So maybe you go much lower here, maintaining imprint. Go to a very wide straddle. There's a little more symmetry here because as the legs counterbalance each other out side to side. But at the same time, you don't want to overstretch your groin or inner thighs. Inhale to lower. Exhale, circle down around. Now, breathing works in both directions. You can exhale to lower, reinforce the imprint. Inhale, circle up. Okay? As long as you're breathing. Let's reverse. For 6, open it up. Squeeze your legs together and then zip it up. All right. You can really activate your inner thighs to squeeze together, right? Like you just caught some $100 bills. Open up, quads are engaged, hamstrings being stretched, and lift. So what I'm saying is you can put your feet together or you can squeeze your legs together. It feels very different, just placing your legs together versus squeezing your legs together and keeping them squeezing as you pull up. Last one here. All right, good. It's a lot of leg work. Your quads should feel pretty fatigued. So a good way to stretch the quads is to work the hamstrings. So this is a variation of these butt kicks. So we've done the heel squeeze before. This is just a variation of it. This also involves the spine. So you're down here. You're gonna curl your legs, curl your hamstrings by pulling your heel toward your butts. And what you don't wanna do is lift your butt toward your heels. You wanna press your hips down, curl 3 times. So pull 3, 2, 1, and reach. The pulsing is kind of almost like, it's a little choreography, but it's also about kind of generating some momentum. So you come down and you go 3, 2, 1, and reach. Pull, 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 and reach. And every time you pulse or do that triple hamstring curl, think about really engaging your hamstrings. Pull, pull closer and closer to your butt, and then reach. If you want to do it with your knees lifted, you can. So here my knees are down and I'm moving my heels, but here I'm pressing my hips down, my knees are slightly lifted as I'm doing the curl. And it'll feel different. Okay, it'll feel different if your thighs are slightly off the ground as you do your hamstring curls versus your thighs and knees being on the ground, a little more relaxed as you do those 3 hamstring curls. Let's do 2 more here. Pulse, 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 and reach. I'm looking straight in the mat. I'm not smashing my nose, but I am lowering my chest. Last time here. Okay. Sit back, stretch, because we just worked the spine muscles, and we generally want to stretch after we work the spine. All right, I'm going to end with another plank here. The plank to side plank variation. Now I am doing this on my wrist, and it can be a little challenging to do a side plank on your wrist, but rest assured that you can put your knee down to give your arm extra support. So let's try it out here. First, you want your hands underneath your shoulders, and then you want your feet wide. So I'm taking my feet at least hip distance apart, if not shoulder distance apart. Okay? Usually we do a side plank by lifting one arm and opening up. We are going to do that. I'm going to lift the front arm, but at the same time, I'm going to move my back leg forward. I'm going to lift my front arm. I'm going to lift my back leg forward. Good. Option. Put that knee down. Gives a little bit of support for that remaining arm. All right, we're not going to hang out here too long. Return. We're back to our high plank. Wrist underneath the shoulders. I'm going to lift my back arm, and my front leg is going to thread under. Find your side plank. Again, option to put that bottom knee down. And then return the leg back to the front plank. Let's try 2 more times on each side. So again, back knee comes down or back leg threads all the way through. Hold. Return. Inhale here. Exhale. Side plank. Inhale, back to the front. Last time on each side, exhale. And lift the bottom leg, that's a little extra challenge. Return, and last time. Lift, and return. Good. Drop those knees down. Shake out those wrists. All right, let's do a little bit of a stretch here for the last couple minutes. You can sit in what they call a mer person position. It used to be called mermaid, but we're trying to be PC now, right? I think they changed it to mermaid or merman, but I don't know if they changed it to mer person. But you want your toes facing the same direction. All right, when you go away from the toes, you're gonna feel a certain amount of stretch here, kind of create a curvature. Not length, but like up and then over. And then here's where the real stretch is. You can grab your shins, sort of pull your body into that stretch. So you'll feel this a little more. Good, having your leg in this position, if it doesn't feel good for you, by the way, you can always cross your legs like this or do butterfly. You can still do a very similar side bend, okay? I'm gonna direct my legs to the other side. First, I'm gonna go away from the toes. And now I'm gonna go towards the toes. And again, you can grab that shin, and I'm just bending my elbows and kind of pulling my body over. So that's a nice side bend. And finally, just find a comfortable seated position that allows you to sit really, really tall, neutral, and then reach across for a twist. Think more about stretching than about working. And since we're vertical, you know, gravity wants to pull us down. We got to work to stay tall. But since we're vertical, we're not really working our obliques here. We're stretching them. Well, thank you all so much for joining me for Pilates today. Hope everyone is having a great week. We're about halfway through April. And taxes aren't due for another month, actually. Isn't that great news?